How you doing, y'all? Not just me, but this guy over here. My name's Matt. I do the whole massive beers thing, and that guy is what's your name? We just
My name
met.
is, well, we just met. Usually I call myself Thomas. You like to call me Tomas. Uh,
Yes.
Thomas Hogendam from the Netherlands, Thomas Opent. And we've done some collaboration shit
Yeah.
live and
Yeah.
whatever before, but
Oh yeah, for many times. It's been.
many
When
old
did we
times.
first meet digitally? When did you message me the first time? Was it like 2, 3 years ago? 4 years ago? How
Something
long?
like that. Something like that. I remember asking some questions about how do you set up a YouTube channel and things like that, and we started chatting, and there you go.
The greatest friendship in the history of the universe was born on that day, my
Oh
friends.
yeah, it was. Fuck yeah.
But
It fucking
today's an
was.
extra special day, but not just because we're doing a beer review. It's your birthday. How old are
It's
you
my
today?
birth. I hit the big 40. I am
Oh,
literally. I'm in my 40s now.
I remember that. I remember that. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it's.
40. They say 40 is the new 20. But they also say it's not how old you are; it's how old you feel, which means I am 163 years old.
See, I always say the same thing. I always say like it depends. If it's a Monday morning after one of my Bruery review weekends, I usually feel like I'm 86 and go fuck yourself.
So I'm gonna tell people about the brewery and all that kind of stuff, but tell everybody how this collaboration review came into fruition. Why are we doing this?
Well, we're doing this because at some point you asked, like, dude, it's been a while since we did a collaboration. We should do something, and we threw some beers back and forth. We talked about this thing from Against the Grain, Bull and
Mm-hmm.
Luke,
Yep.
and I had that beer in the meantime. By the way, did not disappoint. And then this fell into my lap. This little can over here, as in I was able to buy it, and at the moment of purchasing, I wasn't actually aware that it wasn't a new beer, as in just canned. And I threw you a line like, dude, should we do this one together? Because it's probably easier for you to get. And, you know, I love
Yeah, it was.
Bruery.
Yeah, it was one of those things where it's not so much that I buy this beer quite often, but I see this beer quite often, like on shelves. I'll be like, oh, brewery, look at that, and not just brewery, look at that. I'm like, oh, brewery in cans, that's so kooky, because pretty much every single beer the brewery produced up until I would say maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago was in
Yeah,
750s.
yeah, it
Done.
was.
That's it.
And then they started with this, what was it, the bakery line, this pastry stout thing. They did a lot of those.
Yeah.
I had two or three of those, which were fun. They were tasty. And then this popped up, and this is OG stuff from what I know, right? For them.
Yeah, not OG. It's kind of like a second level OG. So their
Hmm.
OG line. I mean, they had their weekday line, which is Black Monday, yeah, it's Gray Monday, then Black Tuesday, and then they had that line. They had that line of beers. They had a specific line of beers for kind of days of the week,
Hmm.
and then this is kind of a variant on Black Tuesday. So it's kind of
Right.
like their, so it's kind of next level past the OG level stuff. Black Tuesday used to be one of the kind of super whales. Like you had to, like you'd, it hard to get, but you'd also like in order to get it, like they would do their own lottery system to where you'd like for free you'd enter a lottery, and if they pick your name, then you'd
Hmm.
win. You'd win the courtesy of giving your money to them, that beer was crazy good. Like we used to do verticals of them all the time because the brewery was one of the original kind of not just hype stout brewers, like OG level hype stout brewers. Like they're up there with like I wouldn't say stout because a bunch of their stuff is actually old ales. This is an imperial
Ooh.
stout, but a lot of their stuff is barley wine old ale.
Oh yeah.
That's where they kind of lay their hay. But they're also one of the originators of the club thing. Like you buy in to be a member of the club,
Oh,
and then
really?
that gives you the ability to purchase beers, and then how much money you spend on the membership dictates how much money you can spend at what level. Like they had levels. Like you had to be like a certain membership for 5 years, then you could elevate to this level of the club, and then at that level of the club, you could have more access to more beers and all that
Jesus.
kind of
Okay.
stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
What
crazy, dude. It was
fucking
crazy. And it was like the clubs cost like $700,000. Now they gave you the equivalent of that in beer, so it wasn't like you're just spending the money on the club and then have to spend more beer. So what a lot of my friends would do is they would actually go out and like 5-10 people would purchase a $700 club membership and then just share the beers, get them all in, be like, you take two, you take two, that kind of thing. Yeah, and they did that for years. And we used to have brewery bottle shares, like every so often, about once every couple months, every quarter, we would get together and just drink a bunch of brewery stuff, and then that was the OG level stuff. This is kind of came right after that, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I've had it before, but I haven't had it probably since it was in a huge bottle, like probably about 5, 6, 7 years ago. So I'm kind of curious to see how it comes out.
Well, it's been a while since I've had brewery. Last time for me was, I think, last summer during a little bottle share. Douglas, he was over here, and that was the second time I actually had, because you would just mention the stock old ale thing that they do in that Solera series that they do.
Mm-hmm.
Saul, I don't know how to pronounce it. Saule. So like Soul the name, but Saul with E after.
Yeah, that's I believe you're talking about their anniversary beer. They name it every year something different.
Yeah, exactly. That thing.
Yeah.
And this was the 2017 version, which, fuck me, I was so fucking happy. I bought a bottle of 750 for, I think it was 15 euros.
Oh, well, nice.
And that was like last year. And I called the web shop, and I sent the web shop like a message. Are you sure this is the correct price? Because I'm not a douchebag. I like, this can't be correct, right? He was like, it's correct. I'm like, fine, reserve me a bottle. I'll order it in 2 days with some other stuff. He did it. And he sent me a message a day later, the day before order. He's like, oh man, you were right. That was the wrong price. I was like, oh shit, dude, I want to compensate you. He's like, nah, it's fine. You can have it. It's only €2 more expensive. So other people, but like fucking 60 euros for a 750 of a 4-year-old.
Well, that's kind of what they cost over here, because those bottles. So
right.
that line is actually, whatever the name is basically, how every anniversary has a gift. You know what I mean? Like you have your diamond anniversary or silver anniversary. Like I think the first year anniversary of a marriage is like paper. I think that's like the there's like a list of materials that so whatever the name of that beer is actually the year. So like it's if the 18th anniversary, it's that thing. It's like that paper, but it's in French, I think it is. So it sounds fancier. Anyway, but what was I gonna say? It's about that much over here. It's about $20 a bottle, American over here.
That's why it was such a fucking steal, because usually when stuff comes over here, it's like 30, 35 euros. So
how much did you pay for this?
16 or 17 euros, I think it was.
Yeah, I want to say I paid $9 American.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Sense.
Yeah. So you know what? How about we start reviewing the beer, and then we can chit chat along the way, because I kind of want to taste this thing. And
same. You know what's funny, by the way? You know what's fun? That's the only thing we can mention. This is the second deliberate collab review we film. You and I always go on about, we love lagers, and we love session IPAs, and we love all that.
It's always a huge stout or something.
It's always a fucking.
Yeah, and at least it's 9:30 for you. It's like 4:30 for me. Well, let's cover the beer for a second, because don't open it yet. I want to do something. So it happens it's Tuesday. It's an Imperial Stout in bourbon barrels, 15.3% alcohol by volume. And namesake aside, this bourbon barrel aged Imperial Stout is worthy of pouring every day of the week. Both elegant and complex, it exemplifies over 10 years of experience in barrel aging technique. Notes of dark chocolate and vanilla are rounded out with hints of freshly picked cherries, dried figs, and molasses. They want this at 55 degrees. That's probably where mine's at.
Yeah, mine's probably a little higher.
2020 edition. We both have the same year.
Yeah.
So we have the 2020 edition. And this is why I didn't want you to open it. Show the fans, show everybody out there. What's your date code?
I don't think mine is that eligible, but mine is canned on 08/27/20.
Okay, mine's 09/02/20, so it's 4 days apart.
I think we can let that one fly.
Yeah, we could let that one slide. So yeah, let's crack into it. Oh, you just have a gold top on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, that's filled. That's filled proper.
Actually, mine's gushing slightly, not gushing, but
Yeah, mine did that a little. Ooh, that looks tasty. I thought
so.
it would. Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I
No.
just want to say I thought it would might pour a little thicker.
Yeah, it's not
Here.
thick. It's not. It's not going to be confused with thin, but it's not thick.
It's not like double C. I do need to take that stupid picture thing.
I don't know what he's talking about. The head on mine is dying really quickly.
Mine's not doing too shabby, really.
Yeah.
Because if you can sort of see the head on mine. I think.
No, you can definitely see it.
Yeah. So yeah, yours is going much faster because look at this. This is still pretty decent.
Yeah. You got a fatter glass though. A lot of the times the head sticks around longer in a fatter glass.
That's true.
But so mine is almost gone completely. It's dark. You pour this into a glass and you go, man, that's dark and thick. But on the pour, like you said, it poured a little bit more, kind of like barley wine-ish rather than like imperial stoutish.
Exactly. Like it had the big dark brown hue to it, like these dark brown edges. My head is disappearing a little bit more quickly right now. It doesn't have a lot of lacing or a lot of legs, but it looks good. It looks the part.
Yeah.
You wanna?
Let's huff this sucker.
Let's go for it. I'm curious.
Okay.
So I get that. I get that cherry note. There's definitely
Oh,
cherry,
yeah.
red fruit. Yeah, but is yours like hinting slightly, ever so slightly, towards a sour cherry?
No, it doesn't for me. On the nose, for me, you know what this, and this just cut straight to the chase. It smells like a slightly, I know this sounds dumb because we're smelling it, thinner. It smells like a thinner, slightly more hot, slightly more cherry version of Bourbon County is actually what it smells like to me.
I get that. I get that exactly. I know what you mean. Maybe the cherry thing is the last couple of days. I've especially last weekend. I've had a few sour ales with some cherry notes in it. The cherry thing. So maybe that's why my head is going towards sour cherry. But I get the cherry thing a lot. There's definitely that sort of vanilla, soft coconut thing. Maybe a hint of char, and there is that hint of char, but not as because you just mentioned Bourbon County. It doesn't have that robust, like thick chocolate char. I don't know what you want to call it, but
No, and I know exactly what you're talking. I think that like that barrel char, that kind of nice, kind of toasty, roasty, chocolatey barrel char thing. I think it's actually probably on par for me with Bourbon County, but I just think it's a little bit more boozy and a little bit more cherry, and that kind of tempers that char a little bit. Like I think when we drink it, it's going to be a little bit bigger. But it's honestly, it smells. You know what this smells like? A bourbon barrel aged imperial stout.
that's exactly what it does. It
You know what I
does
mean?
what
Like,
it says.
like, and I know that's not like okay, sure, no shit, Sherlock kind of stuff. But you'd be surprised how many beers that are like bourbon barrel aged imperial stouts don't smell like bourbon barrel aged imperial stouts.
Yeah, how often have I not sit there and think like, this is a great bourbon. Where's the stout, or the other way around?
Yeah.
I am getting, and that's the one thing that I'm getting a little bit more, and maybe that's the more booziness coming through. Maybe it was a wetter barrel or whatever. I am getting a slightly bigger wet oak thing going compared to bourbon. I had Bourbon County 2021 a couple of days ago, and I'm getting sort of like a wet oak thing a little bit more, but maybe that's because because it's boozier. It was a wet barrel. I don't know.
No, I could get that. If for me, it comes off like oatmeal, like wet oatmeal. For me, that's kind of how it. I think we're talking about the same thing. You're just saying wet oak, and I'm thinking like hot, like a bowl of oatmeal, like a cold bowl of oatmeal. It's probably the same thing. We're just slightly different on it. Yeah.
I don't have oatmeal that much, but I think I know what you're trying to say. And other than that, I would like to say one thing. We're sounding a little bit negative.
No, it's fantastic.
I'm actually quite okay with this nose, and it smells pretty fucking inviting. I like it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that sometimes when you do a collaboration, you're so in tuned, and it's the same thing with mystery beers. You're so in tuned with passing off information back and forth to each other, or in a mystery beer, just trying to think about what you lose the sense of is it great? Is it bad? You're kind of more trying to dissect it and think about it. It's kind of like if you were ever a musician and you listen to music and then you're like, you get to the point where you stop listening to music as music and you start thinking about it. Did they fuck up? Did they do something cool here? Did they do something weird there? Rather than sitting back and letting the whole thing wash over you and enjoying it. And that's kind of the poopy part about beer reviews sometimes.
It is. It's one of the reasons why I sometimes deliberately just buy beers and say, fuck it, I'm not going to review this. I'm just going to drink it. I'm just going to enjoy it.
Yeah, that's pretty much most of the time my shelves is review. Not review. Like, you could just rip anything from that's not on the bottom. It's kind of like my mantra. Because sometimes you just want to kick back and drink a beer, man. You don't have to think about it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. How about
Speaking of, cheers.
Cheers, brother. I will say this, though. That cherry thing is quite tart for me.
That's so, that. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. What you said, but it's not like it's not for me. It's the tartness is absolutely there with the cherry thing, but it's not like a hey, I'm turning sour kind of tartness. It's like a tart jam, like a tart cherry jam. Like it's a marmalade cherry tartness, not like a I'm turning sour kind of tartness.
No. Not like people are like I bet that when some people are going to say that when I said, do you get that sort of like in the distance vague sour cherry thing, as if I was speaking about infection or whatever? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is, if it's in there, it's supposed to be in there, I guess. In the back, I'm getting this big bitter thing, like combination of like bitter dark chocolate, that char bitterness, a little bit of boozy heat, bit of coconut. I like this, though. I like this. I am not mad at this.
There's almost like there's a... I'm not going to say this, and this is not what it tastes like, but this is probably the best descriptor I can think of at the moment. There's something in there that's kind of like anise licoricey, like almost like Ricola cough droppy, kind of like Norwegian like cough droppy thing in here, like a spiced winter like Swedish spiciness, like a Aalborg or something like that. Not caraway, but something like there's something, and I like it. I'm not diminishing it. But when you add that cherry in there, that's tart, and you add this like almost like kind of spiciness to it. It's kind of like, it's cool. I really do enjoy it, but it's just something that I didn't expect. I think this beer, so happens it's Tuesday, used to be, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. I'm pretty sure there was this adjunct laden beer. Here on it just says Imperial Stout in bourbon barrels.
Yeah, I was checking on that because
I think the original ones called out like, okay, we put this, and this in there. So I don't know if they still do that, or it's just how this beer presents itself. But it's almost like they barrel age it in bourbon barrels and also in like Zambuca barrels and then blended them together or something like that.
Holy shit, the Zambuca one! I cannot untaste that right now. Fuck. For shits and giggles, I want to get like a generic between brackets generic bourbon barrel aged imperial stout and just add like a smidge of Sambuca to it. See if it does the same thing, just to see what the fuck happens. I get what you mean with that sort of like that licorice aniseedy thing. I mean, the Netherlands, the nation of black licorice, we love this shit. There's so many varieties of it, and I get when 9 out of 10 times if I get licorice in a stout, it's gonna be that salmiak thing. You know what I mean?
No, I said this in a review not too long ago. It's not that it doesn't taste like this liquor, but whatever spices they put in Jägermeister, that's what this tastes. That's what the spices in this taste like.
So that's a good analogy because Jägermeister, looking at where I work, you're looking at something that we call Berenburg. So this is like a liquor that has shit tons of herbs and spices in it. Well, most of them herbs.
We get it over here. It's got the
Yeah.
checkerboard on it and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you get so many different brands of it, and
People use it
Yeah.
as a hangover cure, right?
could be. I mean,
Okay.
for me,
Anyway.
a hangover cure is basically anything.
Beer. The Scotch section at work.
So there we go. Anyway, that's usually where I go to when I wake up.
Oh, I feel like shit. Hey, I think we need to do a Scotch tasting to make sure we understand how the Scotch tastes.
Oh yeah, like something like that. That's fucking great thing about my work. So it's my birthday today. We closed the store, and this doesn't happen all the time, of course. But it's like, hey Thomas, it's your birthday. Go get something. So I just take this little nosing and tasting glass and walk over to this cover that we have in the store where people can taste whiskeys. Artbeck Ugadile. Just
What's
after
that?
work. Artbeck is like this big smoky
Oh,
peaty.
I know. Okay, yeah. I don't mess with the. Yeah, I don't like the peaty kind of Islay scotches and stuff like that. I'm a Speyside kind of guy.
Oh, Speyside got some. Oh, I know a few good ones. Maybe I can hit. Maybe instead of sending you a beer mail at some point, I'll send you some samples of several kind of single malts.
Don't tempt me with a good time. If you hand deliver them, that would be even better.
Well, we're still trying. Oh, fuck it, man. You know what? You know what's really sucky? That life in the world is getting a lot more expensive right now, and all the good stuff. You're kind of hesitant about it, but I don't know how energy prices are for you guys in the States at the moment. But here in Europe, we have this thing where a lot of our oil comes from a certain country that we don't really like right now.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. I don't want to do this on beer review, but it's all too much. Yeah, because it's not like, honestly, like oil's going at 90 a barrel right now, and when it's 90, it was 90 a barrel a month ago, but the prices haven't shifted. They shifted up when it got expensive. They haven't shifted down. But here's the other thing: undeniably there's an ebb and flow to everything in the universe. And supply and demand and just everything eventually does equal it out. So you can see the opposite. Like we've been talking about, obviously I've been talking to James about him coming over next fall, or this coming fall, I should say, not next fall, this coming fall. And inside joke. And honestly, if everything goes the way it hopefully does, it might be like things are dirt cheap then. You know what I mean? Like
collapses.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Well, not just collapses, but if things go this high, it can go this low. The middle is where everything ends up. So if it's super high, by that time it might be super low. So you don't know.
But look at any up and down in terms of economy. When prices go up and down, it's always like you said, this ebb and flow thing. The faster and higher it goes, the faster and higher it falls. Literally what you just said. So the last couple of years, everything was this slow little thing. Everything went up a little bit, everything went down a little bit. So if we're lucky, I can. If we're lucky, they're going to pay me for a ticket to come over to the States. Like
research. It's called R&D research. For American whiskeys and bourbons. And I think there might be a trade show. So there's this really huge American spirit and wine trade show. It's called the Wine and Spirit Palooza, a trade show. I can write up I can make a fake website, and then I can send you credentials for it and be like, yeah, these people want to come over, and I need to find, good bourbon and whiskey and beer from the United States for us to house in here. Can you guys send me over there, please?
I could make it a work trip. I'll just tell them, like, I'm gonna make some direct connections with American breweries for import-export purposes.
Do it right now.
No, but that's the thing, though. The world has to go to a really crazy place. Not something I really want to say out loud right now, because the last couple of years, the world has really challenged us with that bullshit. But next fall with Beer Chipalooza, it's September, right?
No, October.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay, we're
because
aiming for
late September, early October is what James's timeline. James is driving the timeline. We typically do it in August, but we're shifting it so we can accommodate him. It's not a big deal, but we're just moving it so he when he comes over, and hopefully you come over.
it's the plan. It's the plan that needs to
Yeah.
happen. I mean,
So you're saying, you're saying it's difficult. Talking about difficult, let's talk about the beer that we're here to talk about. Let's get this
yeah, let's
back
go
on the
back to that.
rails. Let's do that
Because
thing that's really difficult.
so going back to with the way we poured, it poured a little bit thin. You know, it looked slightly thin-ish in the glass. It doesn't have like a huge mouthfeel.
No.
If you were to get this as a mystery beer, I'd probably think like something 10, 11% ABV. So it's not.
Well, no, I disagree wholeheartedly.
Oh, really?
Yes, because it's thin, but it's not boozy. It's super fucking boozy, dude. Like it's
I'm
like, you know what I mean?
Purely, yeah, oh, it's boozy. I'm just talking about purely the mouthfeel. It is boozy AF. When you take a sip, you get it. It's boozy. But I'm talking about the way compared to the 2021 BCBS I did like 4 days ago. Yeah, it was 4 days ago. This feels thinner at almost in terms of mouthfeel. In terms of the ABV, you're looking something up.
Well, I'm looking up some information about the beer. I'm curious about a couple of different things about it while you're talking. So, yeah, no, it actually does come off more like almost like a stout barley wine blend for me. That's kind of where it comes off as far. So this is actually added in Beer Advocate, 2014. And just to give you a little bit of background on it, it says our famous or infamous Black Tuesday, which is the beer I was talking about earlier, is named. This is the original notes on it, so this is probably from when it was originally kind of released. Our infamous Black Tuesday Stout is named in honor of a great stock market crash of 1929. So happens that Tuesday is a similarly dark and delicious, but a more affable format, reminding us that it's always a bit of good to be found within the bad. Things happen, life goes on. This beer can be enjoyed for all those reasons. I think it's, in the grand scheme of things, if I'm just going to kind of boil this down and is it good, is it not good? It's really, really good. Like you said, for an imperial stout, I would knock this for mouthfeel. But if you told me this was an imperial, if they said imperial ale or blended whatever, it shifts my perception on it. Does it make me love the beer less? No, because I can. If you told me this is a 5-year-old, or no, let's put it this way. What's the best way? So if you gave this to me blind, okay, and I drank this without knowing what it is, what would I call this? I think I would call this a 5 to 8 year old barrel aged barley wine, because I think it would be, because it tastes like a barley wine. It tastes like it's barrel aged, but it's too dark to be a barley wine. So I would compartmentalize, or I would make myself believe that it's probably a barley wine, but it just has some time on it. It's not oxidized, but maybe it held up really well. Maybe that's because it's in a can. I don't know, but it has more like barley wine attributes for me than it does imperial stout attributes.
I get that. But it also has this, because this is going in through my head, because I was definitely listening to you, but while I was listening to you, I kept having this word in my head, effervescence. Does that make sense? When it comes to mouthfeel, the way it's sort of...
I would actually say the exact opposite.
No, really?
Yeah, effervescent to me is champagne. The definition of effervescent is champagne. Bubbly, spritzy. Yeah. Bubbly, spritzy, like jumping out, almost soda-like carbonation. You know what I mean? This actually is undercarbed for me. I mean, yours is... Well, let's put it this way. Mine, look at yours and look at mine. Like, you still have a rim of a kind of carbonation around yours.
Good point, though. Yeah. Good point. My head did last longer as well, so maybe there's a difference there. There
might be a difference, but it's not flat. Mine isn't not carbonated. It's just undercarbonated. But it's a tasty beer. I would really, no, I don't want to do this side by side with Bourbon County, because that's just damage on my body and liver. But I I think it would be a fun side by side to do just to see how they play against each other. I think they're decently different beers, but I think they have a lot of the similar kind of tent poles or similar kind of things to them, to where I think they would be a really cool side by side, and because they're just I keep harkening back to like a Bourbon County as far as a reference point for this. If I were going to talk to somebody, and if somebody is like, "Oh, I've never had this," how would I talk about it? Be like, "Well, you've had Bourbon County. Well, you know how it does that. Well, if it was a little more like this, that's how I would reference this beer to somebody."
Yeah, but it makes totally sense, because even in the descriptor of how they say what it should taste like with the cherries and everything, the fruity dark fruit cherry nose, Bourbon County, the vanilla, the chocolate, Bourbon County. That's like charting. The high ABV, right? Like, because this is 15.3%. Usually, Bourbon County is slightly above or slightly below 15%. You know,
No,
all
no,
of
12,
this is
12 to 13 is Bourbon County typically, right? 12 to 13, sometimes
no.
11.
The last one I had was the 2021 was 14.4.
Oh,
And
wow.
the one before that was 15 point something, I think.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
wrong, you're right. There you go.
I mean, well, sometimes it happens, not often, but it happens.
Yeah, it's okay.
But it's funny though, because and this is again the canning thing or bottling thing, because we're talking about the carbonation. I remember having the same discussion with Mike about BCBS 2020, where I felt mine was slightly overcarb, and he said, "No, I thought mine was perfect." Then we checked the bottling dates, because BCBS is also not bottled on the exact date. You know, they have like this production. There was like a month between. And it's very well possible that the version that you have
Oh,
is
yeah.
slightly undercarved and mine's
Well, not
slightly over, or, you know.
well, not just that. I mean, Bourbon County is not. It's such a wide distribution for that beer that it's not like they have a vat of Bourbon County and they put it in cans and bottles over days. They take all their barrels and then they match all the barrels up with other barrels and they blend them all together. So there's some like if Bourbon County has codes in the back, you'd be like, okay, this one is a specific barrel and a specific spirit. Like they have ones that actually it'll have like the barcode and then behind it be HH, which means it's just Heaven Hill barrels instead of a blend of all the barrels. Or you know what I mean? Like they'll Bourbon County's like the one you get might be markedly different. Now the brewery's going to be a little bit more consistent because they don't have that kind of capacity that Bourbon County does or Goose Island does. But in the grand scheme of things, I think it's an absolutely fantastic tasty Imperial bourbon barrel aged Imperial Stout while being a little bit thin, but also you always have to kind of, you don't have to, but you always have to kind of just mention it's a stout with a barrel.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing else involved. Like that, a lot of people go, "Well, I had this beer." Be like, "Yeah, where you just rolled off like 14 adjuncts in 19 different barrels and some kind of miracle unicorn dust is in it." You know what I mean? Like this is just a core four plus a barrel. You know?
I know you're not big on the peaty thing we just talked about, but you know what's one of the best beers that we have in the shop right now, and I've had several people buy it after
Heineken.
talking about it. No. Well, yeah, Heineken sells very well, of course, but you know what I mean. I'm talking about best beers, not best sold beers. It's this 8% dry, sort of like an export stout almost, aged on Kilhoman barrels, and that's it. And Kilhoman is like a peaty Islay stout, right? And I tell these people, okay, I know you think about stouts these days, and you think about these 12, 13 overtly sweet. There's probably a few adjuncts in there. They're aged on, I don't know how many barrels. It's usually like bourbons because people love bourbons. It's only 8% ABV. It's not super sweet. It's dry. It's got this espresso, dark chocolate, dry, bitter thing going on. And it's on this weird smoky thing that you're probably going to think, like, what do I do with this? People buy it because they're curious. And they love it. And it's only 8% ABV.
Is it Scotch ale or a darker beer or what is it?
It's a stout, like an 8% stout.
Oh, okay.
Like that's it. And people fucking loved it. And I love that shit because fuck off with not fuck off, but like you just said, those 14, 15 adjuncts in there. It's a beer. It's an actual stout, and it's fucking
And
amazing.
here's the weird part about like that comment you made. Like I'm not a big like kind of Islay Scotch guy. I don't. So there's a lot of things in my life that I like. Not weird about, but I think this is common for a lot of people. So for example, one of my favorite fruits in the history of mankind are peaches. I love
Mm.
peaches. I think peaches are delicious. I absolutely cannot stand peach flavored things. Anything that's flavored peach is disgusting, but I love peaches. Cherries. I actually not a fan of cherries. But anything cherry flavored is the best thing in the fucking universe.
For those who are
Scott.
watching, sugar-free. What is it?
Yeah.
Diet Coke. What's it again? Diet Doctor. No, help me, help me.
Yeah, it's a sugar-free cherry Coke Zero or
That's
something like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you want to know something?
But
I
yeah,
finally
yeah.
had that. No, I had that like a couple of days ago for the first time in my life.
It's like crack, right?
I hated the first two sips because we got a few free cans. I hated the first few sips. I finished it because I was like, whatever. An hour ago, I grabbed the second can.
So it's like the anti-crack. Instead of the best thing you ever had it, and anything you had crack you have the first time, you're like, it's the best thing ever. You never, it's never as good as the first time. Cherry Coke, you're like, this sucks. I kind of want another.
I did like it. I did like it. And an hour later, I grabbed the second can. I was like, "Fuck!"
But that's how I am with like PB Scotch barrel stuff. So like Lagavulin, for example, not a fan of that Scotch, but JW Lee's Lagavulin barrel aged JW Lee's is one of my favorite barrel aged beers. So like I love PD Mossy Islay Scotch barrel aged beers, but I'm just not a big that version of it. So anyway,
I need to hook you up with some stuff, but. Okay, let's go because this is what always happens in these reviews. Back to the beer. Let's go towards like final words.
Okay.
So what's yours?
My final words on this beer is that I think it's fantastic. I think it's tasty. I'm absolutely 100% okay with the money I spent in this beer. And it just honestly, it's not. It reminds me of the early days of beer becoming big. It reminds me of like when beer was finally, like, and I told the stories of years of, not finding people or being a hermit. You don't find anybody, but it was rare to find people into beer. But once you started to get in the later aughts, in the early teens, 2008, 2009, 2010, that's when beer really started to kind of jump up and make its hay, at least craft beer and boutique-y stuff like this. And the Bruery was one of the leaders in that kind of clubhouse. They were one of the bigger breweries. Do you know why it's called Bruery, by the way?
No, I don't.
Okay, I will let you know right now. It's because the owner of the brewery is a gentleman by the name of Patrick Rue. So that's the R. So it's RUE.
Mm-hmm.
Is his last name. So instead of spelling it traditionally like brewery, his last name is Rue. So in the middle of it, that RUE is his last name.
I never fucking knew that.
Yes, and so that's why it's called The Bruery, because it's just his last name's Rue. And he was also one of the first master cicerones. He was actually the owner of the... Yeah. Type in Patrick Rue Cicerone. He's like, originally there was like, I forget who was first, but originally there was like 5, 6 like master Cicerones. He was one of the first ones, like early on, like 2011, 2010, before people gave a shit about that stuff. But anyway, so you know what I mean? This beer kind of brings me back to like what beer was kind of back then, like 2011, 12, 13, when people joined those clubs we talked about earlier, when people would do those kind of things. It just kind of make, I don't know. It just kind of reminds me of that, and that's a good thing. It's like listening to a Portishead song or listening to the Crow soundtrack. It just brings you back to that time when everything was a little bit happier and nicer and fun. Even though today is awesome, it brings me back. How about you?
So I actually have the exact same feelings, especially the first part of what you were all saying about that is actually fantastic and tasty. So I'm going to say something weird here, and you know me, especially after I've had a half of like a beer like this. I get fucking funny weird. Do you know how there's these guys out there saying, hey, please don't worry, I'm a grower, not a shower?
Yeah.
So when we just opened this beer, we went through some negative things. Like, I don't know, there's this and that, and we didn't mean to be negative, but we had some comments and stuff. And now I'm tasting it and I'm drinking more of it, and I'm like, holy shit, there's a lot of stuff going on here. And the mouthfeel that felt a bit thin, maybe because the carbonation is now dissipating a little bit. It gets a little bit more cloy, a little bit more sticky. I'm getting more of those umami vibes, that cherry vanilla char thing, that tart, that Asian cooking. Asian cooking is all about, a combination of everything: sour, sweet, savory, spicy. It's doing all those things right now. And everything is just coming together and mellowing out. And I'm just looking at this thing, and if you want to get that funny joke about it, maybe it's not a shower, but it's definitely a grower. And the more I'm drinking it, I'm very happy with what's in this glass.
I'll take what you just said and twist it in a less pornographic kind of way, and and no, notice kind of well, it's not mansplaining; it would be Thomas-splaining, but I get what you're saying from a different view. So sometimes beers are thinner. So this beer is thinner based on a bourbon barrel aged imperial stout of 15%. Mm. But what this beer ended up turning into, which is super impressive, is a conversation beer to where it's easy to drink. And we're sitting here chatting and talking to each other and having a good time. While the beer's present and part of the conversation, it's also not, you get a super 5C thick imperial stout. This video is half the time. Because we're like, exactly. We're done with this. We're done with this. We need to get out of here. Whereas this, we're continuing to chat. We're continuing to talk. And it's something that's it's great beer that's facilitating conversation. That moniker is usually kind of a pigeonholed for lager and pilsner. The thing that we talked about at the beginning that we never do. And it just ends up being a beer that's fun and facilitates conversation. What more do you want?
I was literally thinking, when you started what you were saying, I literally heard the word conversation piece. And to just make that weird analogy I just did about grower show or whatever, a lot of those big ass, adjunct laden, weird barrel and whatever stouts, they start off amazing. You're like, this is so fucking weird. But after, I don't know, 20 minutes, you're drinking it, you're sipping it, and you're like, yeah, that's kind of like a really weird, sweet mess right now, isn't it?
Yeah, yep.
And that's where it ends. And you kind of either want to drink it very quickly and be done with it, or you drain pour it. This, I'm looking forward to spending. It's more liquor than beer.
It
is. You want to sip it. You want to take your time. I'm looking forward to spending some time working through it, and kind of probably going to be sad when I finish it and thinking like, shit. I hope I have a chance to buy another can in the future.
Yeah, I'll just go to the 19 places I have on a shelf by me, so I don't have to worry about that.
I fucking hate this. This is why I should come over to America.
Yeah, hey, I have that shed. You can live in my shed.
This is what's going to happen. Is we're going to cap it. Is when I come over, I'm going to just walk over to your car, that wonderful Golf GTI that you have. You're going to sit behind the steering.
Oh.
I'm going to sit next to you, and I'm just going to look at you and go to the back cave, Alfred.
You want to hear something really, really sad? Yeah. I hit a deer with my car a couple weeks ago. And deer jumped out, and I hit. It didn't cause any mechanical or functional damage, but my hood is one side. I just caught him on the edge of my car, so my quarter panel's dented. My bumpers it needs to be replaced, and my hood is dented. So, but it's still like nothing wrong with the car whatsoever. But I I did some. Yeah. I'll take a picture. I'll send it to you. Ooh. It's still a little tuft of deer hair in there too, for effect. It's pretty awesome. It is, straight up. I'm not joking. And it's I hit the deer like 2 months ago, and there's still deer hair in there.
I'm gonna ask the poll question, and you know which Paul I mean. I'm gonna ask the poll question.
Yeah.
Was it tasty?
No, I didn't stop. Okay. What are you gonna? I don't think I hit it. I don't think I killed it. I just think I gave it a good wallop.
Oh man, I hope that's it, Gus. Probably you did, because if you hit a deer full on to kill it, yeah, your car's going to have a lot more damage than what you just described.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so we'll see.
So it's probably going to be fine.
Yeah, I just had a
And
it had a bad Monday like you do after your beer reviews. That's all. So
this is why it's a good thing that usually my Mondays are my off day these days.
I remember when I worked. I used to have for 18 years. My schedule was Tuesday through Saturday, so I always had Mondays off, and I loved having Mondays off. Nothing better than having a Monday off because you can go out and do your grocery. You can do all your stuff out in the world, and nobody's around. You just get to do everything,
Everything's
and
cool. And
yeah.
you know what's even better? I feel like I'm in a band, right? And one of the coolest things is like, especially if I'm like half hungover through a Monday after some reviews, and on Monday evenings we have band rehearsal, and I walk in like this long hair, half hungover dude singing in a band, going like, "All right, guys, let's fucking do this."
Yeah. They think
That
you
feels
showed up.
pretty badass.
They think you showed up like ready. They're like, "Oh, Thomas is dialed in. He's already dialed in." Be like, "No,
Yeah.
he drank too many dials in."
I'm dialed in because there's like 4 imperial stouts still coursing through my veins.
Okay, homie. Let's tie this up in a messy bow, but a bow nonetheless. So, in the grand scheme of things, out of stouts you had over the past 6 months, where would you place this? Like as far as like one of the more memorable ones, really delicious, but I don't know. Like where would you put it?
Using your vernacular, is it Mount Rushmore? No, but it's definitely up there. This is definitely one of the ones that I'm remembering. Not just because of the conversation and the review itself, but because there's a lot of things happening, and it's memorable. I've had some better imperial stouts, some better bourbon aged imperial stouts. But I'm at that point where I'm trying to think of how many of those were actually a lot better. I'm counting on my fingers, going like, it's not a very long list. So there you go, there you go.
I'm not going to say anything else, man. I think you nailed it on the head. I feel the exact same way about the beer. So if you're watching this on my channel, you know who I am. If you want to know who this guy is, how do they find you?
They can find me on the interwebs. They can find me through Thomas Opent. It's on the screen there, Thomas Opent. If you Google that, you'll find the YouTube thing. You'll find Facebook. You'll find Instagram. Everything, and you can follow me there. And if you're watching this on my channel, I find it quite unlikely that you do not know who that guy is, because if you do not know who he is, that's kind of weird for me. But if you don't, go check out Massive Beer Reviews. His podcast is Massive. No, that was Beer Massive. Sorry, Beer Massive for the podcast.
Beer Massif.
Beer Massif. And you can check all that, and you can find all that. So please do. And I hope all of you are enjoying a nice little bourbon barrel aged imperial stout.
Today's Friday. Are we posting this on Tuesday? I guess, right?
I'm cool with it. I can post it on Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah. So happens it's Tuesday, baby.
So happens it's Tuesday. That should actually be the title of it. So happens it's Tuesday. No, we'll make it happen on next Tuesday. And Matt, I hope you have a
no. This Tuesday, not next Tuesday. This coming Tuesday, not the Tuesday
not next Tuesday. This Tuesday.
This Tuesday. Coming up. Not next. That's the Tuesday after that one, which would be the next Tuesday.
So does that mean I'm visiting you guys next summer, or?
Well, you wouldn't be coming in summer at all. You'd be coming in fall, so I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, right. Summer. I keep thinking of summer. I'd like to say cheers. Thank you for doing this on my birthday. That was great. Full disclosure, you didn't even know that it was going to be my birthday when we planned this. I deliberately did not say that. So.
Well, that's because you're one of those people that, like me, who doesn't advertise their birthday, and I salute you, brother.
Thank you, because fuck that bullshit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So cheers. Have a great weekend.
You too, dude.
Thank you, man. I will.
I will tell you this before the video actually goes to black.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think about the day we hang out in person a lot, and I can't wait till that happens.
Me too. Especially
like genuinely. I'm excited.
So I was thinking about this 2 days ago because I still have that bottle of Castile 2009.
Yeah.
With your name on it.
Yeah.
And I don't care when it happens, even if it's going to have to take 5 more fucking years. That has your name on it, and you and I are going to share that together. And
It's only going to get better, baby. So
I don't care. But even if it's a hot fucking mess, I don't care. I want to fucking share that bottle, and it's going to happen. And I've been thinking about it, and I can't wait to just sit there and drink good beer together with you.
It's going to be the shit show. That's all I got.
There you go.
Cheers, homie.
Cheers, bro.